YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. Got our slot cornerback rankings for you guys today. We did plenty of position rankings for the upcoming season, including the outside cornerbacks. So if you haven't seen that, check them out. Plenty more videos on the way leading up to the NFL season. Then during the NFL season, full coverage with recaps every single week, updated power rankings, and picks for each game every week. Hopefully you can join us for all that. A subscription would be much appreciated. 40K is our goal by the end of this year. Click that like button. Check out our Twitter. And there's a couple links at the top of the description for how you can join our Fantasy League, Pick'ems League, Discord chat, plenty more. That won't last too much longer, though. But there will be exclusive content always available through there. That Patreon link is at the top description. Please check it out. I ranked 12 slot corners on a whole bunch of great slot corners in football. It's a very important position in today's game and very hard to play, I'd say. You could argue that it's harder than outside corner. Maybe not as important. I think it could be. It really depends on the defense, but people just kind of look at the top outside corners, never really look at the inside guys. So we're going to go over 12 of these guys here. Again, it's not based off last year, predicting the upcoming season. Let's start with number 12 to number 9 here. I got P.J. Williams of the New Orleans Saints at number 12. He kind of came out of nowhere last year, was pretty impressive, got some turnovers, a key part of that Saints defense that really got a lot of clutch turnovers last year. Let's see if they can do it again this year. 11 is Justin Coleman, who was on the Seattle Seahawks, and then now this past offseason, this past free agency, I should say, signed by the Detroit Lions to play their slot corner. He kind of came out of nowhere too. A lot of the slot corners really just weren't really supposed to be anything special. I think they kind of dropped out of the draft, because they weren't really outside corners. People didn't really have a use for the nickel corners back then, and there's not too many teams that do, so they know they can get them undrafted. Justin Coleman has worked out pretty well. We'll see if he continues to play well for the Lions. Kendall Fuller of the Kansas City Chiefs is at 10. Another pretty impressive corner that can actually play outside and can play in the slot. I like him better in the slot. And then number 9 is Bryce Callahan of the Denver Broncos. He was one of the better nickel corners last year when healthy with the Chicago Bears. And his defensive coordinator, Vic Fangio, who is now the head coach of the Broncos, brought him over. So as long as he's healthy, you could expect big things. Just want to see him stay healthy. Want to see him, get more good play out there, because it's really another guy that we really only saw one good year of. And definitely needs to stay healthy, though. Has been injured over the last couple of years. So he comes in at number 9. Number 8 to number 5. Number 8 is going to be Mackensie Alexander. Minnesota Vikings slowly getting better every single year. The Vikings play a lot of nickel corner. Mike Zimmer's defense, he never can have enough corners, always drafting corners. They play a lot of 2 linebackers, and then who is with Barr and Kendricks, and they throw Mackensie Alexander in there a lot, so he's a big part of their defense. 7 is Jason McCourty, who actually played most of his career on the outside last year, played a bit of both, but was very impressive in the slot, and they liked using J.C. Jackson opposite of Stephon Gilmore, who's one of the better outside corners in football. So McCourty was, at his age, was pretty darn impressive in the slot. Again, he's getting up there in age, so maybe he won't be at the top of this list, but still can play at a solid level. Nickel Roby-Coleman of the Rams, kind of known for that no PI call in that NFC championship game against the Saints, hitting Tommy Lee Lewis. So, but a very physical slot corner. Impressive season last year. I expect somewhere around similar play this year. Number 5 is Kenny Moore of the Indianapolis Colts, another slot guy that came out of nowhere and has earned one of the top contracts as a slot corner. So he was one that, really the whole defense of the Colts was very surprising. A lot of guys like Kenny Moore, a lot of guys that, we know their names here and there, some of these guys, but we don't really expect a whole bunch from them, and the guys played pretty well. Like Kenny Moore, so they really like him. There's not really other guys like him that are available that you can find that can play that nickel position, so they had to pay the man. Made sense. Hard to come across those nickel corners. Let's see if he can have another good season with them. I don't see why not, so that's why he comes in at the top 5 there. Now we're already on to our top 4. Who are the top 4 slot corners in football, in my opinion? Here they are. Number 4 is T.J. Carrie. This top 4 is real close. It was tough, kind of really 3 and 4, real close. T.J. Carrie, I loved his game last year. We haven't seen too much of him, too much great play of him besides last year. He had some time outside as well, outside corner. But I don't see why I don't see a reason why he couldn't play at the same level this year or even better. He's kind of just fit into that Browns defense, and he's got his role there, and he doesn't really get enough credit for last year. He was he was big time for him. He was clutch for them, big time player in that defense, and they added a couple more corners to play along with him and Denzel Ward, so it's a pretty good secondary there. Number 3 is Logan Ryan, who's been one of the better slot corners in football for a while on the Patriots, now on the Titans. Physical corner, can press you at the line. He's very good in man coverage too as a slot guy. So, and they did draft Amani Hooker, who they're saying could replace him because Logan Ryan will be a free agent after this year. So that's something to keep an eye on. He's been a very good slot corner, could become available this offseason. Number 2 is Minkah Fitzpatrick from the Miami Dolphins. Interesting one because he is listed as a safety. He was at Alabama as well. Listed as a safety, but why is he on here? Majority of his snaps, actually by a long shot last year, were as a slot corner. Second most amount of his snaps were as an outside corner, and then it was box safety. So interesting that he's listed as a safety still, but at the same time, they do have a new coaching staff in there, and maybe they want him to play as more of a safety, a true safety, or a box safety. So we'll see. I still put him under here because that's where he played majority of snaps last year, and I'm if I had to put money on it, I think they would keep him there. Why change it where he was playing very well, only in his second year now? He can continue to thrive there. Pretty much, he's going to be good no matter where you put him in the secondary. Definitely a young talent to look out for. And then Desmond King coming in at number 1, a dominant year in the slot last year, and I expect him to keep growing. Was this absolute steal in the draft for the Chargers a few years ago. I had a late first-round grade. I was just stunned by how far he dropped, and it just kind of goes with the underrated slot corners. People saw, they evaluate Desmond King, and they say, can he play outside, or is he just going to be a slot corner? Then that makes them drop, which that way doesn't really make any sense. But if you're a team that really values the nickelback position, and there's a lot of teams that don't, you can say, well, we're going to wait for this guy because we don't think anybody else is going to take him. And if you're not, if you're a team that, rather use that extra linebacker, you're more of a safety team, then, they don't value these guys that high. I think he can play just as well outside. Maybe not quite as well, but pretty close. But it was ridiculous that he dropped. But I guess for a nickel corner to get drafted at all, I guess is pretty impressive. But Minkah Fitzpatrick, but it was a little different. I think they know he can be in the future a top-tier safety, a top-tier corner, a top-tier box safety, a top-tier slot corner. So it's a rare talent there. So Minkah could really take the number 1 spot depending on how well he plays this year, but he's on his way up. Again, Logan Ryan's been a guy that's been here for a while, and TJ Carrie's one to watch out for because I thought he had an underrated season last year. Very, very impressive. Started the year outside and then really got more of his reps when they needed him to fill in the inside, and was super impressive. Almost looked like he played pretty much everywhere too, outside, inside. Almost looked like he was a deep safety at time. I think he didn't really start there, but I think he's just very good at reading the offenses where he just puts himself in the right spot. He was very impressive to me last year. If it was based off last year, he'd probably been number 2. It's just or 2 or 3. Logan Ryan's always up here. Minkah Fitzpatrick, basically predicting him to get better, even though he was very good last season as well. So pretty good group here. Not too many solid nickel corners, but the 12 here are very solid and kind of lock themselves in their positions for their teams. So we got the safeties to do. We got to do the safeties next, and that's it for the individual positions. We'll do units and team offense, team defense. We'll rank all the teams in those. Plenty more to come. Full coverage in season. Cannot wait. We're almost there. Hopefully you can join us for all that. Hopefully you can subscribe. Check out that Patreon link in the description if you want exclusive content or if you want to join any of our Fantasy League, Pick'ems League, Discord chat. Appreciate it if you just look into that. That's going to do it, though, for this one. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Goodbye.